no hygiene, given any kind of attention now in those places. The hygiene is poor. That's what you mean.
Extremely poor. And the medical facilities are poor.
And these people have rights, don't they?
Oh yes. The only when you are in prison,
even a convicted person has rights.
No, your only rights that are taken away when you are in jail is your right to liberty and your right to freedom of movement. All other rights are protected, which was why I'm taking up the government over the untimely death of this man. I think he's from Mali, who died in prison in January this year in Kirikiri here. He had mild stroke, but because he was not medically attended to, he died. I'm talking of Amadou Tijani, the man who was accused of transborder crimes, including armed robbery. He had been jailed. He had done 10 years in prison. He was standing trial, I think in Lagos. Almost for 7 years, no witness was produced. He was just kept in the prison, and he died.
Wow. Well, guys, this question comes from Ikwe. He says, should the Attorney General begin a process of supervising investigations or post his lawyers to state police commands?
It would be a wonderful idea, and that's what is done in some countries. Investigation is supervised by the Office of the Attorney General. It would be a good idea because many cases should not go to court at all if they are checked, at that level.
I know that one time you made a comment that many cases are now, investigated, tried, and finished in police stations, and a lot of people are wondering: do you think that perhaps we should put in a method of alternative dispute resolution mechanism in our police stations, since oftentimes many cases don't go beyond those areas?
Most police stations in Nigeria try more cases than our courts on a daily basis. Oh yes. Many criminal cases are settled in police stations, albeit illegally, but people are satisfied through alternative dispute resolution.
It is illegal now. That's what we're saying. Can we make it legal?
The police, no police station has the power under our law to compromise or to compound felonies. But what happens every day is that the system has allowed it. Again, the Office of the Attorney General in each state will have to intervene regularly on what goes on in police stations. Because if people become more aware of their rights and they have to sue and they have to claim damages for the violations of their rights, the state will just be declared bankrupt. Which is why the attorneys general will have to do much more.
And we say we have
monitoring the police.
We have one law. But in all of this argument, in this
one
discussion, we get
one for the rich, one for the poor.
That's what I'm getting to say.
Yeah, it's a class society.
To the extent that you go
and
to the
rich
prison,
don't
you
bother.
also have two facilities, one for the rich and one for the poor.
Oh yes. And the earlier we realize the danger, the better for all of us. That we must have one law for everybody in the society.
And this can be sorted out.
Oh yes, very easily. Once you have rule of law in any country, nobody can be treated above the law.
Would you accept being the Attorney General?
Yes, on one condition, that I will prosecute all indictable offenses. All indictable offenses, whoever is involved. So the question of prosecutorial selectivity will not arise. If I have that undertaken, why not? But the unnecessary interference in the work of the Attorney General, even that of the police. Haven't you heard top police officers disclose that whenever they arrest anybody, however grave the offense may be, before getting to the station, big people are calling to say, please leave him or her. So in that kind of environment, you can't do serious policing. And what will surprise you when you travel out of this country, the moment you land in Dubai or Accra or London, Nigerians behave and comport themselves.
Including the big ones.
Oh, yes. When a policeman asks a taxi cab to stop, you don't say, officer, come, because that is obstruction of justice, which is a criminal offense. But here, if a policeman stops you on the road, either to ask for your papers or whatever, oh, I'm so much in a hurry, officer, please, you are offering money. So these are part of the problems why we have run into major crisis.
Let's look at this other matter. It has to do with the military. There's a report about it. We'd like you to take a look at it and get your response to it.
The 18 soldiers were arraigned on 6-count charges bordering on mutiny on the 14th of May 2014. They were charged with opening fire on the car carrying Major General Ahmed Muhammad, the former commanding officer of 7th Division of the Nigerian Army in Maiduguri, Borno State.
Prosecution, please announce your appearances.
Shortly after the arrival of the panel, the president of the court, General Chukwuemeka Okonkwo, proceeded to hand down the judgment of the panel. 12 of the soldiers were found guilty of mutiny, 11 of them were convicted for criminal conspiracy to commit mutiny, disobeying lawful orders, insubordinate behavior, and attempted murder of the former general officer commanding 7th Division, Major General Ahmed Muhammad. However, 5 of the accused soldiers were discharged, while another soldier got a light sentence of 28 days imprisonment with hard labor for absence without leave.
The resistance put up by the soldiers, the demand for the GOC to come and address them, and the resultant shootings were all premeditated and planned at the minimum in the night of 13th May 2014 to the morning of 14th May 2014. Therefore, it will be right and lawful for the court to infer that an agreement to commit mutiny exists. Accordingly, any of the accused persons found guilty of mutiny would equally be found guilty of conspiracy to commit mutiny.
At the end of the judgment, the panel gave an opportunity to the accused lawyers to make plea for mitigation.
My Lord, we are by pleading that their sentences be lessened in severity as same on the charge.
In spite of the plea, the court handed down the maximum punishment of death by firing squad to 12 of the convicted soldiers. They also backed 2 life sentences for conspiracy to commit mutiny and attempted murder. The panel have acquitted them on the use of abusive language and insubordination, as the prosecution failed to prove its case beyond reasonable doubt.
Involving the use of violence or the threat of the use of violence, or having as its object or one of its objects the refusal or avoidance of any duty or service against or in connection with operations against the enemy, or the impeding of the performance of the duty or service, or incites any other person subject to service law under this act to take part in a mutiny, whether actual or intended, is guilty of an offense under this subsection and liable under conviction by court martial to suffer death.
Those found guilty include Corporal Jasper Berdolo, Corporal David Musa, Lance Corporal Friday Onu, Lance Corporal Yusuf Shuaibu Ahmed. Others are Private Alao Samo and Private Alan Linus. Even though the verdict is in, it remains to be seen if the Chief of the Army Staff will confirm it. Only then can it take effect. Amaka Okafor, Channels Television News.